Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, in this video, our team will present to you the topic chapter 2 titled Audit Quality Control. So this is our team of 3 members, Khalida Masara, Asila Zawani, and also me myself, Laili Husna. We will cover on the introduction of audit quality, its component, the ISQC1 and also ISO 220. We will also touch on the Audit Oversight Board, AOB, and lastly, we will do one question with a suggested solution for this topic. Ready to learn? Let's go! First, we will take a look on the introduction of audit quality. When we are the auditor, there are high risk factors that expose us to legal liability, like dishonest client that commits unlawful acts, or we call it as the management fraud, the insolvent client, and significant deficiency in audit. So why this high risk happen? It is because there is no quality control. When there is no quality control, it undermines the credibility of the audit function and raise the question about the reliability of financial reporting. Plus, it also attracted substantial criticism regarding the competence and independence of the auditors. So, what does quality control means? It means that it is a system that relates to the concept of professional competence and a meeting of professional standard, the technical and ethical, in providing the professional services so that no audit failure and audit risks are reduced to an acceptable low level. So, bear in mind this quality control as we go through our topic. The quality control in auditing must be developed at the professional level, setting the technical and ethical standard by the MIA, and at the firm level, the policies for its own practice, and also at the engagement level, the policies for every engagement. Now, the two components of audit quality is ISQC1 and ISA 220. ISQC1, which stands for International Standard of Quality Control, ISQC1, quality control that perform audits and reviews of financial statement and other assurance and related services engagement. This is intended for all assurance engagement at the firm level. Meanwhile, ISA 220, quality control for an audit of financial statement, provide quality control standard applicable at the engagement level. Now, for the next subtopic, ISQC1 will be presented by Khalida.
Hello, my name is Khalida and I'm going to continue with the next part. As you guys know, since there are two components of audit quality, we should know what is the difference between these two components. The first one, which is ISQC1, is focusing on the firm level. It helps audit firms to establish quality standards for their business. On the other hand, ISA 220 talks about the quality control on engagement level, or also known as individual level. ISA 220 requires firms to implement quality control procedures over individual audit engagements, and the burden of this falls on the audit engagement partner, who is responsible for the audit and the ultimate conclusions. Next, we're going to talk about the element of quality control. Since there are two components of audit quality, so there are also two types of elements of quality control, which is the first one for the firm level and the second one for the engagement level. For the first part, I'm going to present the element of quality control for firm level. The firm shall establish and maintain a system of quality control that includes policies and procedures that address each of the following elements. For your information, both firm level and engagement level comprise of 6 key elements, which can be acronymed as below. HEARME. Hear me. It's easy to remember, right? So, we're going to dive into the first element, which is H for human resource. To make it easier, this element covers the policies and procedures that relates to firm's personnel, like recruitment process, career development, performance evaluations, and others. The reason for the establishment of policies and procedure is to provide the firm with reasonable assurance that the hiring process hired those with appropriate characteristics of competency, the personnel assigned to the engagement have the degree of technical training and proficiency, and third, the personnel participate in continuing professional educations and advancement activities of professional bodies. For example, the personnel is taking SCA qualifications. So in this slide, you can see the examples on how the firm implement the quality control using the elements of human resources. Next is ethical requirement. This element provides guidance on ensuring that the firm complies with ethical requirements. Policies and procedures should be established to promote reasonable assurance that the firm and personnel comply with fundamental principles of ethics and maintain independence of mind and appearance. For example, the firm can implement this quality control by having knowledge about client engagement and scope of service enabled to comply with professional competence and due care. The firm also must have independence checklist. The partner should notify any possible threat to independence in regard with the client. The third element is acceptance and continuance of clients and engagements. So this element provides guidance on determining whether the firm is able to accept or continue client relationship or specific engagements. The policies and procedures should be established to decide whether to accept or continue a client relationship and to decide whether to perform a specific engagement for that client. It is important to ensure that the client has integrity, the firm is competent to perform the engagement, and able to comply with ethical requirements. In this slide, you can see the example on how the firm can implement this quality control. The next element is leadership responsibility for quality. So basically, this element provides guidance on promoting an internal culture of quality. To be specific, the firm should show how essential quality is. In firm level, this element put an emphasis on top level management, which means they are the one who should assume ultimate responsibility of quality control system. They are the one who should set the right tone at the top. Next is the fifth element, which is monitoring. This element provides guidance on ensuring that the firm's quality control system is relevant, adequate, and operating effectively. It is to provide the firm with reasonable assurance that the policies and procedures established for each element of quality control are suitably designed, relevant, operating effectively, and complied with. Firm can implement this quality control by designing the responsibility to a person with experience and authority. The last element is engagement performance. It provides guidance on ensuring the engagements are performed appropriately. The policies and procedures should be established to provide the firm with reasonable assurance that the work performed meets applicable professional standards, regulatory requirements, and firm standards of quality. In short, it is to ensure every engagement team assigned has capability to deliver a good job. It is also established to achieve consistency in the quality of engagements. Anyway, it is important to note that quality control does not exist without documentation. Documentation is a proof that the steps required in enforcing good quality has been taken. Now, we have finished the elements of quality control for firm level. Next, I'll pass to Miss Layli to continue with the engagement level.
Next, I will continue with the third subtopic, ISA 220 at the engagement level. The auditing standard ISA 220 quality control for an audit of financial statement. This auditing standard focuses on the audit firm's own quality control procedure. An audit firm has an obligation to ensure they follow professional standards and that their reports are appropriate for the client's requirement. For this to happen, the standard gives a recommended set of policies and procedures that should be carried out. To help us remember the key policies and procedures, we will use the Hear Me. Same as Khalida has shown us before, ISA 220 also consists of these 6 elements. The H is for human resources. The audit firm, and in particular the engagement partner who is responsible for the client, should ensure that their audit team is capable. They should assess the competence of the team members to ensure that the audit is performed at an appropriate standard. They should ensure that the audit team has sound knowledge of the client being audited and therefore understand the entity and its environment. However, they must also ensure the technical skills within the audit teams are enough to reach the appropriate conclusion. The E is for ethical requirements. Quite simply, the audit firm must ensure that they comply with the codes of ethics. They must ensure the fundamental principles are followed and that they manage any ethical threats, conflicts of interest, or other risks. Appropriately, the A is for acceptance and continuance of clients. The audit firm must consider whether they should accept every engagement. Once they have accepted the client engagement, they must then review every year to ensure the entity should continue to be their client. The key issue is that the audit firm must only accept clients with an acceptable level of risk. Next, the R is for responsibility of leadership. The engagement partner must take overall responsibility for the audit team and the audit process. This means they must also ensure the quality control procedure within the firm are of a high standard so as to follow professional standards. Accordingly, the M is for monitoring. We have already said that strong policies and procedures should be in place. However, to ensure these are followed, there must be an element of review from the audit firm. The standard recommends two types of monitoring, a hot and a cold review. An independent partner within the audit firm undertakes the hot review usually. They review the audit work and conclusions reached. This is to ensure that the overall conclusion, that is, the opinion, is appropriate. The hot reviews are usually carried out for listed clients or those with significant audit risks. A hot review is carried out before the audit report is signed. It is also known as EQCR or Engagement Quality Control Review. A senior member of staff at the audit firm perform a co-review. An external consultant can also carry it out. They review the work carried out for the client and the conclusion reached. The key difference is that the review takes place after the audit has been completed and the audit report signed. A sample of clients is selected across the audit firm to review. This ensures consistency across audit teams and identify if there is risk of non-compliance of professional standard. Next, the E is for engagement performance. This looks at the overall performance of the audit assignment across the audit firm. This is made up of three elements: the direction, supervision, and a review of the audit. The direction focuses on ensuring everyone is aware of the objective of the audit, the knowledge of the client business, the risks and any problem that may arise. While supervision is looking to ensure that the audit is reviewed by someone senior who can ensure the team is competent and the deadlines are met to provide timely information for the client. The review is to ensure professional standard has been followed, that there is evidence to back up the conclusion made, and that the evidence collected is sufficient and appropriate. Each of these 6 components is explained in the ISA 220 to enable audit firms to ensure the highest quality of work performed. This therefore ensures that an appropriate audit firm opinion is formed on the financial statement for every client. Next, we will learn the next subtopic, the Audit Oversight Board with Asila.
Hello, I'm Asila and we will now take a look at Audit Oversight Board, or AOB for short. How is AOB related to quality control? Well, one of AOB's functions is to inspect and monitor for auditors. If auditor is a watchdog, then AOB is the watchdog of the watchdog. The Audit Oversight Board is established under the Security Commission in Malaysia Act 1993, or SCMA 1993 for short. The Security Commission is accountable for all of AUB's acts. The purpose or function of the Audit Oversight Board are as follows. First, to promote and develop an effective oversight framework. Second, to promote confidence in quality of audited financial statement. Thirdly, to regulate auditors of public interest entities. And finally, to exercise oversight on anyone who prepares a financial report. What is public interest entity, or PIE for short? This is the full list of what PIE means, but to summarize, it means a public listed company listed on Bursa, any bank, insurance, or financial institution, whether conventional or Islamic, and it does not include private companies, which is basically Sendirian Berhad, partnership, and proprietorship. However, there are, of course, some exceptions. The AUB shall consist of the following members who shall appoint the board. A non-executive chairman. B. An executive officer. And C. 5 non-executive members. A non-executive chairman and executive officer, which is A and B, cannot have conflict of interest with a public interest entity or auditing or accounting firm. They may, however, receive a standard pension from their previous employer firm. At all time, not more than 3 non-executive members, which is a C, of the AUB can be members of the Malaysian Institute of Accountants, which is MIA. All these are safeguards to ensure independence, since they are the ones who will be monitoring auditors. For the next section, we will list out the responsibilities of the AUB. The Security Commission Malaysian Act 1993 listed out a total of 9 responsibilities, but I will only be picking out a few. A. They implement policies to ensure effective audit. B. They register auditors. C. They command MIA to establish or adopt the ethical standard to be used by auditors. D. They conduct inspection on auditors. E. They also question auditors and penalize as needed according to the law. And F. They also collaborate with other authorities to formulate strategies to improve disclosure. So to summarize, the function of AUB is registration, inspection, inquiry, sanction, and standard setting. Each of these have an entire section dedicated to them in the SCMA 1993. Some of the highlights are in the slides as provided, but I will not be elaborating them, so if you would like to read, please pause. So we've gone through all the important sections, so how about a refresher? To review, there are 2 components of the audit quality, which is first the ISQC1 and second the ISA 220. And AUB is an organization that regulates the auditors to ensure the quality of financial statement in Malaysia. Well then, let's proceed to our next part, which is sample question and answer. So question: you are the senior manager in CAX & Co., which is an audit firm. You are responsible for monitoring the audit quality and ethical situation which arises in relation to audit client. Hinata Co. is an audit client whose operation involves haulage and distribution. The audit report for the financial statement of Hinata Co. for the year ended 31st December 2021 was issued last week. You are conducting a review on the quality of that audit and of any ethical issues which arose in relation to it. Relevant information obtained from the discussion with the audit engagement partner is given below. So Hinata's company, which is the client, audit committees refused to agree to an increase in an audit fee despite the company's operation expanding into new location. In response to this, the materiality level was increased during the audit and some review procedures were not carried out. Required: comment on the quality control, ethical and professional issues raised in respect of the audit of Hinata Co. and the firm's wide policy of CAX & Co., which is the audit firm, and any recommendation to be taken by the audit firm. So here's a sample answer. When the audit client imposed a fee pressure on the audit firm, an intimidation threat to objectivity arises. Intimidation threat is a threat that a professional accountant will be deterred from acting objectively because of actual or perceived pressure. For example, an intimidation threat is when an audit firm is being pressured to reduce inappropriately the extent of work performed in order to match the fee that can obtain to work performed. The matter should have been discussed with Hinata & Co.'s audit committee, with the audit firm stressing that the new location would lead to an increased scope of audit, and therefore the fee should increase rather than remain the same. This matter also should be brought to the attention of Cax & Co.'s partners responsible for ethics. The fee pressure has resulted in maturity level being increased. This leads to the risk that insufficient audit evidence may have been obtained to support the audit opinion. In addition, the risk was further heightened to the fact that some review procedures were not carried out. This indicates that appropriate quality control procedures had not been applied to the audit. ISA 220 quality control for an audit of financial statement requires the audit engagement partner to review the audit documentation to be satisfied that the audit work is complete and that sufficient appropriate audit evidence had been obtained to support the conclusion reached, and for the auditor's report to be issued. Given the pressure on fees which seem to be affecting the quality of work performed, Cax & Co. may want to consider whether it is appropriate to continue with the audit engagement. The audit firm's concern should be communicated to those charged with governance of Hinatas & Co., which is the client, and the audit committee should be made aware of the implication of the fees pressure on the audit. Well, that concludes our sample question. We hope our video increases your understanding and will be your revision for the upcoming final. Thank you for listening and happy studying!